I am California of the past.
I am California of the past. I am California of the past.
My name is Suruchi Mohan. I am the author of Divine Music, a novel that is set in India and tells the story of the power and beauty of music as seen through the eyes of a 12-year-old girl who aspires to become a musician. Coming to California was in equal parts ecstasy and anxiety. I came here to start my new life with my husband, who had moved here from school in Chicago a month after we got married in India. And the thought of seeing a whole new world with him left me breathless with excitement. At the same time, it was my first time away from home. For the most part, I had lived, studied, and worked in one place. And leaving all of that, the human relationships of a lifetime tore at me like nothing else had until that point in my life. I remember very clearly the nervousness of flying all alone halfway around the world, the trepidation at immigration, the remarkable beauty of the first landing in San Francisco, the startling feeling of the wheels touching the ground when all I had seen from the window was this vast expanse of water. I came here soon after my 25th birthday, and as my husband drove me from the airport to Sunnyvale, I remember thinking how surrealistic everything was. The sky, the brilliant blue sky, the flowers, the hills. Well, Monday morning came, and the loneliness of being in a foreign country set in when my husband left our one-bedroom apartment to go to work. I did not know a soul. I was all alone. I did not then have a driver's license. I did go out a little bit. I walked wherever I could, to the grocery store, to the drugstore, the bank, sometimes aimlessly, self-consciously, up and down El Camino Real. I remember how hot the sun felt through the clear California air, even though I came from tropical India, but the air there was loaded with dust. Sometimes, just for human contact, I tried to strike up a conversation with store clerks and remember feeling so surprised that they didn't understand my accent. It was too clipped, some of them said to me. Things changed. Over time, I made friends. I went to school as my green card processed, and I passed the driving test. We moved from Sunnyvale to Santa Clara to San Jose. It was in San Jose that my daughter was born, and it was at the moment of her birth that I felt that California was home. I still missed home. I missed my family. I toyed with the idea of going back, but I knew that it was now California that owned my heart. I have been living in Los Altos for 14 years, since 1996. We moved there just before the dot-com boom, and downtown Los Altos was always abuzz with activity. The town itself remains as beautiful as it was when I first moved there. Chinese pistache and maple trees set sidewalks aflame in the fall. Magnolias and flowering cherries summon spring. And the apricot orchard across from the library harks back to a less populated time. The one thing that I realize is the amount of diversity we have in the area, and also how much I take it for granted. What is so remarkable is how people interact with one another, regardless of culture or background. And the comfort they have with one another cannot be faked. I think Valley companies and their hiring policies have a lot to do with it, because they hire the best regardless of background and ethnicity. And when people work together for very long hours, which they do in Silicon Valley, side by side, they become acquainted with other cultures, and they realize more than any novel can make them the common human values to which all cultures subscribe. For me, this has been the strongest part of living in this area. Closer to the ground, I realized that I would never have become a writer had I not come to California. It was here at San Jose State that I took my first writing class. I became a journalist. Stanford's continuing studies program gave me the courage to experiment with fiction. I think of this part of my life as the California dream. I did not pan for yellow gold, but the vast opportunities to learn, regardless of age and time, allowed me to realize a dream that I'd had since the age of 10, but then forgotten as I went through the business of living in the 1970s and 80s, that of becoming a writer.